Hello everybody, welcome back. It's been a while. I've taken some time off doing some videos. They've been pre-season, transfer window. We all know you get video after video after video. In transfer window where nothing really is happening. So I'm just going to do a review of pre-season and the transfer window so far and what I think about it. As we are moving into the Charity Shield next weekend, and football is back properly after England were dumped out of the Euros final by Spain, and Gareth Southgate has left. And I don't think there's anybody who's a football fan in England who isn't happy that Gareth Southgate has left. But we've all forgotten about that now, so we're back on to proper football. And we got Yorro in. The big race for Yorro, is he coming to us? Is he going to Madrid? Whether he chose us or he was on the option, he's now with us. He played, half a game, was it? Got injured. Broken metatarsal, is it? Not going to be there for the start of the season. It's exactly what we didn't need. And I know the whole time, if anybody's watched any of my videos from last season, you'll know that I say injuries are not an excuse. But when we've only bought him and Xerxes, we really, really could have done with him staying fit. Hopefully Martinez comes back. You might know or you might not know I have my doubts about Martinez. He was out nearly all season last season with an injury. I think he come back and played some Copa America games for Argentina. To me, he's got to prove his fitness before I start saying he's going to change the way we defend. Because you cannot be out for a year. If he gets injured again in the next few months or the first couple of months of the season, it's not good, is it? Lindelof, got to sell him, haven't we? Aaron Wan-Bissaka looks like he's going to West Ham, and we're going to get Matsouari, by the looks of things, from Bayern. It seems that's the latest news of this week, is if we'll get Matsouari and Ligt through the door. 55 million, I think, for both of them. We're stalling for some reason. Whether we haven't got the money, we're looking to sell first before we buy them, or we're just saying, we're just for once holding out and saying we're not paying that. We're giving you this much money, take it or leave it. If you don't take it, we'll move on to someone else. Ineos seem like they're not going to be pressured into overpaying for players. We'll give them an offer, they take it or they leave it. If they don't want it, we'll move on. The Ligt thing's been hanging around nearly all summer though, so I think eventually Ligt will be at United, especially because Yorro is now injured. We've obviously sold Varane, got rid of Varane. We've only got Evans, Maguire, Lindelof as backup, and Lindelof's injury prone as well. Or he was last season anyway. Maguire is Maguire. I'm not going to go into it. And Evans is Evans. We need another centre-back. The one thing that really concerns me about this whole window, and nobody else seems to be talking about it, is left-back. We've got Malacia, who we bought for 15 million as an unknown, got injured and no one's seen him for a year. All of a sudden there's talks that he's coming back, he'll be a few months, he'll be back, he's ready and all this lot. He's not played football for more than a year. Then we've got Luke Shaw, who everybody was starting to slate towards the back end of last season. Miraculously, he's got fit for England. You know, come off it. You can't play a United game from February. You're injured all season and miraculously you're fine to play for England. It's about time we got over the Luke Shaw thing and got rid of him. And I know people say you can't sell him. He's on too much money. He's too old. He's too injury prone. Just say what we say with all the rest of them. You've been here for 10 plus years. You're good on your day. You're injured all the time. It's time for you to ship up or ship off. If he is in, I have no faith in Shaw being fit beyond October, November. When that second round of England internationals come round, he will be injured again. And where are we for a left back? We're obsessed with centre backs. Everybody's talking about a centre midfielder, forward. We don't have a left back, in my opinion. Sure, I do not class as having a left back. Then people say, oh, we'll get Matsouari. Dalot can play on the left. Dalot's a right back. He's not a left back. Look at the way City, Liverpool, even Spurs, Arsenal all play. They play with overlapping, attacking fullbacks who get to the byline and they pull the ball back for the striker to score. We play with Wan-Bissaka who can't kick a ball forward and no left back, and two wingers and Bruno who shoot from all over the place. There is no structure to the way we play whatsoever compared to the top sides. I mean, look at Liverpool in that pre-season friendly last night. I'll get onto pre-season more in a moment, but I think two of their goals come from getting to the byline and pulling it back and tapping it in. We never do that because when the ball gets to Rashford or Anthony or Garnacho, they want to go cut in, shoot. They never go take a step inside and go back to the fullback who pulls it back. And watch how City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Villa, all the top sides play to the byline and pull back FIFA sweaty goal style. We don't do it. We're relying on moments from Bruno, Rashford, and whoever else, Garnacho, hitting and open all the time. And it is not sustainable. And if we go into next season with Rashford, Bruno, Garnacho, and Højlund as our front four, and I know Højlund is injured, we're going to be in big trouble. Because Højlund looks like he's all right. Do I personally think he is the striker we need? No. He's another person who likes a counter-attacking ball over the top and he'll run after it, get on it and take a shot. The same as Rashford, the same as Garnacho. If anything, and this might sound harsh to Højlund, but Xerxes is the opposite. He's more of a drop-in striker, pick the ball up, links play up, that kind of thing, runs the channels. He might actually make us play better football because he'll get hold of the ball and play the wingers in and play Bruno in instead of running away from the person on the ball for a ball over the top that then puts us under pressure and the ball is straight back on top of you. That's my impressions on Yorro and Xerxes. I haven't seen a great deal of either of them. Obviously, Yorro was an outstanding talent that a lot of teams were after. We've got hold of him, so as good as he might be, we've got to see how he progresses at United and what he's really like once we get like Martinez and Dalot and everyone back in that back four. But Xerxes, I don't know a lot about Xerxes either. He's obviously a young Dutch player, not an out-and-out striker. He's more of a link striker. And I really do think we need somebody to get hold of that ball in that striker position and bring other people into the game. Bruno did it to some extent at the end of last season. Look how much we were better we were in the last 3 games of the season in the final when Bruno was out of the central midfield. When he played false 9, he can't get the ball deep and knock it long and lose the ball all the time. He's got to use it properly. And we won all 4 of them games with Bruno at false 9. It's no coincidence when he isn't in the central midfield and we had Amrabat and McTominay, who are both not very good midfielders, by the way, but we had 2 of them in there doing a proper job with Mount, or I can't remember who else played in there with him, Eriksen, Mount. 3 proper midfielders who hold the midfield and go forward when they should and come back when they should, and we won 4 games in a row. Bruno starts the press and runs beyond Højlund and leaves gaping holes in the midfield. He gets the ball in a number 8 or number 10 position when he's in midfield, and he just first thing he looks for is a ball over the top and gives the ball away constantly. I think the last 4 games of the season last year are proof that Bruno Fernandes has got to play in the front three. And people will not agree with me, but wait until he's back and we're 5 games into the Premier League season and our centre mid is wide open again because he's chasing a keeper down instead of holding his midfield position. But that's ranting about Bruno again, because I truly believe United will be a way better side when Bruno and Rashford finally leave. We all know why, because of Rashford, but a lot of people won't agree with me with Bruno because of his stats and this, that, and the other. And yes, his stats and everything might be good, but it's all in moments, isn't it? When does he ever control a game? When is he the one dictating the pace of a game for 90 minutes? He has one 10-minute moment per game, and the rest of the game he's running around like a headless chicken. And I'm afraid if you want to win leagues, you can't do that. But on to pre-season, we beat Rosenborg 1-0, didn't we? I watched that game in full. We were absolutely terrible. And yes, it was a lot of youngsters. First game back, Rosenborg were halfway through their season, so it is what it is. But we could have got hammered 4-5 in that game. Not even going to talk about it. Betis game, I've only seen highlights. Obviously, the games are at 3 o'clock in the morning in England. I haven't been staying up to watch them. I've just watched highlights. It looks like we were okay in that game. Nothing special. Again, we've conceded 2 goals to Betis. We've won 3-2. Ahmad was the pick of the bunch in that game. And I personally think Ahmad is miles and miles ahead of anyone else in our front line. He's better than Garnacho. He's better than Rashford. He's better than Højlund. He has to start. He's better than Anthony. The way he can carry the ball technically and the way he looks for other players and 1-2s, we do not do that. And that is exactly what I was speaking about a minute ago. People might think I am absolutely insane with the lineup I would start with, but it would be Ahmad, Mount 10, Xerxes at 9, and probably Garnacho on the left. But as if you watched any other videos, I know Garnacho is really young, but I think he's on a slippery slope down the Rashford trail where he runs down blind alleys and he relies on worldy moments for people to like him. His work rate is obviously way better than Rashford, which is why I'd put him ahead of Rashford, and I will give him a chance because he's so young. And it's probably all right to have one flair player if all the other players in around him are the ones who keep the ball and will feed him, which is why I would choose Mount, Xerxes and Ahmad. And then you can have Garnacho as the one unpredictable one in the front 4. Our shape will be better, our ball retention would be better up front, and that would relieve the pressure on the defence and the central midfield, because everybody moans about the defence, and yes, we do need to shore it up, and everyone moans about the central midfielders, but I play as a centre-back myself, and I know for a fact that when your strikers do not hold the ball, they give it away, straight away, you can't get out. So you're going about playing a high line, but if you can't get out, how do you play a high line? You've got to keep the ball. All you end up doing is a central defensive midfielder and in a centre-back or a back 4. When your forwards don't keep the ball, you end up running back towards your own goal all the time. And what does every single pundit on the planet say that centre-backs don't want to do? Turn and run back towards their own goal. And that is why we concede so many shots and so many goals, is because we don't retain the ball further up the pitch and we try and get out quick, and then the ball comes back at us and we're running the wrong way. I know this for a fact. I've played in Sunday League football as a centre-back for my entire life in okay teams, and I know when you don't have ball retention up front, most of your game is running back towards your own goal, and it's exactly what you don't want to be doing. It's exactly what we do now at United, when it's bang, bang, bang up to Garnacho, Rashford and Højlund, who lose it, and it comes back, and you're transitioning back towards your own goal all the time. But that is enough of a rant on that. Pre-season, the Liverpool game, we obviously got battered 3-0. Some people saying we created loads of chances. From what I've seen, we created a couple of half chances, a couple of turn and shots. There was nothing clear cut. Liverpool created 2 or 3 or 4 clear cut chances where they get into the byline, pulling the ball back, tapping it in. Why are we not doing that? Theirs were clear chances and they beat us 3-0. Ours are half chances and we're clinging on to that we played okay and created chances. The reality of it is they beat us comfortably. And I'm not going to dwell on pre-season because it's a marketing thing in America. Half the team aren't there. Things could change next Saturday, Sunday, whenever the Charity Shield is. We'll look like a completely different side. And we will be better than we have been pre-season. But the problem is being better good enough? Or is being better the same as what we were last season? And personally, and you all know my thoughts on Erik ten Hag if you've worked or watched this channel before, I think we're going to go into next season, whether we buy, even if we buy Ligt, if we buy Matsouari, whatever his name is, if we've obviously got Yorro, if Martinez is back, if Dalot's back, if Shaw's back, if we get Ugarte, of course we're going to be better. But will we still play that same style of football, which I've just talked about, which is where we give the ball away all of the time and we're on a transition back to our own goal? And I'm afraid it doesn't matter how good you are as a back four or a CDM, you will eventually come a cropper to being turned and having to run back towards your own goal. There's only so long you can put up with it. Look at the way Arsenal, City and Liverpool play. They keep the ball in the final third. The defensive line moves up to the halfway line comfortably. And they can guarantee that their front 4 or 5 will not lose the ball and put them under pressure. We're the complete opposite. We're running out. We get halfway out and the ball's back. You've got to turn running back to your own goal. It's not sustainable. And this is my worry for Erik ten Hag, who I believe will be sacked before the end of the January transfer window, because I don't think he will change the way we play. And against teams with a low block, like, for example, Fulham on the opening day, we are going to struggle to score goals. We struggled to score goals last year. What did we have? A negative or 0 goal difference at the end of last season. And we were wide open. We've changed nothing up front, apart from Xerxes, who I say might help. But the reality is it'll be Højlund, Rashford and Garnacho probably starting, with Bruno in behind. And we didn't score any goals last year. So why do people think we're going to score goals this year? The only thing we might do is shore up at the back, and then we go back to Erik ten Hag's first season where we were good defensively and you're relying on a Rashford or a Bruno moment to win 1-0. It is still not sustainable football long term. And this is what I think people don't understand when they say, I'm Erik ten Hag out, I don't like this player, I don't like that player. And it's not that I don't like them or back them. I am just going off based on what I've seen in the last 2 years. Year 1, defensively solid, completely reliant on Rashford moments. Year 2, Rashford went to the toilet and never came back, so we scored no goals. And our defence was wide open and we lost games. This year we might be somewhere in the middle where we draw more games than we lose because we've got a better defence but we still can't score. I hope you get what I'm talking about. Erik ten Hag has got a huge job to do, in my opinion, to still be in a job after next summer. If you don't make the Champions League, he's gone. There's no doubt about it. Whether you think he is here to stay for the long haul, here to stay for the rebuild, if he does not get in the top 4 and get Champions League, there is no way he's staying. I think if we lose a few games leading up to Christmas and the style of play is still extremely poor, and we're outside the top four, we're out of the title race already, I think he'll be gone as well. I don't think Ineos care that much. Would they have been talking to Tuchel, McKenna, De Zerbi and all them lot before the summer, delaying and announcing Ten Hag's contract extension if they really thought he was the man? I think the only reason Ten Hag is still in a job is because the people they interviewed they didn't think were any better. I think if there was any outstanding candidate that had come up to manage Man United at the end of last season, they'd be in that job now. And I think he's got a huge, huge job to do. One, we have to play better football. And two, we cannot be losing 5 to 10 games leading up to Christmas like we did last season. People are giving him enough chances, in my opinion. I'll back him. I hope he can turn it round. As Van Nistelrooy, Rake, all them lot in there now. Can they do something to change the way we play? Or are we still going to see the same old defend and oof it tactic? I mean, everybody's defending Erik Ten Hag, but is his tactics any different to Gareth Southgate's for England? Sit back, hoof the ball forward to one of the forwards, lose it, it comes back, it's back on the defence again, hoof it, come back. And I don't want to compare him to Southgate, because Southgate's one of the worst managers I've ever seen. But we play that kind of football. When was the last time you saw Man United just go 1 or 2 goals up in a game, and then from the 70th to the 90th minute, you can't remember what's happened in the game because we've just completely dominated possession and took the stung out of the game? It doesn't happen. What happens is we keep giving it away, we get overrun, we're ill-disciplined positionally, and we end up 2-2. But I'm going on about last season and my worries going into this season, which is something that I should probably talk about next week after the Charity Shield and see how we come out once we've got all the players back, or the majority of them back, and we come up against a decent side. But I will say it again, City are a team that suit us because they play a super, super high line with only 1 or 2 back, and we've got some of the quickest strikers in the Premier League. You knock it over the top, we get onto it. If we played City every week, we'd probably be all right. The problem is the 80-90% of the games are against teams that don't do that, and that's where we struggle, where you have to play possession and work the ball and work an opening, and we don't. We kick it, give it away, or we get around the edge of the box and we shoot. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm being overly negative about next season. Will we change? Do you really think that United and Erik Ten Hag will change the way we play? Or do you think we'll still play the same football but potentially get better results because theoretically we should have a better team out on the pitch, which at the moment is looking like we won't? There's going to be no Yorro. Xerxes will probably play. He's not played a minute of pre-season. We don't really know what he's like. He won't start Ahmad. It looks like Rashford's played every pre-season game. He'll start Rashford. Will he start Garnacho coming back from the Copa? Don't know. He might. I think he'll start against Fulham. He might not start the City game. We've got Sancho at the minute playing false 9. Nobody wants him at the club. I mean, what's going on with that? I mean, I know it's a bit of a ranty video and I'm a bit off topic, but players who I think we need to get rid of are Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, Anthony. Probably Maguire, but with Yorro's injury and without us getting Ligt yet, I think we're probably going to have to keep one of Lindelof or Maguire because we won't have enough centre-backs again. So personally, I'd just keep Maguire as a backup. He can do a job as a backup centre-back if we need him and there's no one else about, or if we're winning a game and we want to cling on, you can chuck him on at the back to head everything away. McTominay, you'll know on this channel if you've ever watched it before, I've been a huge critic of McTominay. Personally, I think he was all right last season. He got us a lot of points. Would be way worse off without him. I would keep McTominay, and I cannot believe I'm saying that myself. I would send Amrabat back, and I'd keep McTominay, not as a starter, as a bench player to either come on if we need a goal up front, or to come on at the back to just get in the way when we need to defend a lead. As a starter, no. Casemiro, he looks like he's completely finished on it. We need a CDM as well. We've obviously got Mainu to come back in there, but I don't think Mainu is a real number 6, is he? He's more of a number 8, box to box, even probably a number 10. He's got the technical ability, Mainu, to play as a 10, I think. People will probably disagree with that, but I'm pretty sure he played 10 in a lot of his youth games. And he's one of the only players in our entire squad who he's calm on the ball. He's the complete and utter opposite of Bruno Fernandes in that position. I don't think you'd see Mainu oofing it or shooting from wild places and losing the ball all the time if he played at 10. He'd just tick it over, go wide, come back inside, wide, come back inside. Just drag teams about, which is something we don't do. I want to keep this video under half an hour because I don't want to talk too much. But those are my thoughts on pre-season. What do I think we'll do into the window between now and the end of it? We've had the Euros. We've had new ownership. I think the next few weeks we will see things change. I think Wan-Bissaka's as good as gone, and I'd be surprised if Sancho's still there come the start of the season. I think we will end up with Ligt and Matsouari. I think it's just a matter of time. We're probably just holding out to try and get a better deal. I think one of Maguire and Lindelof will go. Personally, I think we need a left back desperately. And I don't think we'll do a lot more. I mean, I think we've got Yorro, Xerxes. We've got that Obi guy, haven't we, from Arsenal, that 16-year-old. I don't know anything about him. Apparently he's 6'2". People say he could come straight into the team. I don't know how we've got him out of Arsenal, but you would think if he's some sort of wonder kid at Arsenal who's going to break through, he'd be breaking through at Arsenal. So I don't know quite why we're so excited about him. Maybe because we haven't got any other forwards and he looks like he's someone who could put the ball in the net, but he's 16 years old. Arsenal haven't got a striker, so why is he not playing for them? But I don't know anything about him. He might not be an out-and-out striker, so I'm not going to criticise that too much. He's a young kid, but I don't see him coming into the first team. And then Ligt, Matsouari, I think we'll get over the line eventually. And beyond that, I mean, can we get a midfielder? Ugarte? That deal's like on and off like a yo-yo, that Ugarte deal, isn't it? I mean, I think Amrabat's not committed to going back to Fiorentina because I think if we don't get Ugarte, I think Amrabat's going to come through the door. And Amrabat is not good enough either. People seem to think the last 3 or 4 games of the season, Amrabat's some sort of worldie. Where was he for the rest of the season? He didn't play because he ain't good enough. Simple facts. We shouldn't, even if he's only 10 million quid, we shouldn't sign him. Go look for some other young kid in the Championship or somewhere for 10 million quid and get them instead. That's my opinion on Amrabat. Agate, or people say Zubamendi. Nobody mentioned him till the Spain won the Euros. I'd rather have Zubamendi personally because I'm a big believer of keeping the ball, ticking the ball over, dictating the play in midfield. And I think Zubamendi would do that. Where I think Agate is another erratic kind of stamina muscle player. And I think we are desperately, desperately in need of players who play with the ball properly, not runners, not physicality, not can tackle, not headless chickens. We need people who specialise in a position and possession. And I personally believe that we will not be anywhere near the top of the Premier League until probably 3 of our front 4 are not there anymore. Bruno, Rashford, Højlund, and whoever you want to put on the other side, Garnacho, Anthony, Ahmad. They lose the ball too easily. All of them, bar Ahmad. I think until you get rid of 3 of them and put 3 people in there who look after the ball, we are never going to be challenging for that title or massive honours. We'll win games. We'll win one-off games. We will not win over a 40, 38 game season with them 4 up front. So, like I say, tell me what you reckon in the comments. What do you think to my predictions? I'll make a predictions video before the season start where I think we will finish once we've got more transfers and that in, and we can see maybe how we've played in the Charity Shield. And hopefully this should be a big week for United. We say that every single week. We expect stuff to happen, but pre-season's over. Euros are over. You expect things to pick up in the transfer window now. And I expect us to get Matswari and Ligt. And I'm not sure we'll get anyone else. Maybe Agate. But to me, it seems like PSG want too much money and we're not going to pay it. So are we going to go get someone else, or are we going to fall back on Amrabat, or are we going to just rely on Casemiro and the youngsters? Tell me in the comments. Like I've said, hit the like, favourite, subscribe if you're still with me. I'm going now because it's over half an hour and I've been ranting for too long. Peace, sub, and United to finish in the top 4. What do you think?